This is a headlight, something that you'll never see on a NASCAR, because like Lightning McQueen once said, you don't need them because the track is always lit. However, back in the 80s and 90s, we didn't even see decals of headlights. In fact, they were fully covered. And the question is, why in the world did they do that? And second off, why did we start adding decals to begin with? I mean, it doesn't make the car faster or anything, so why did we do that? This was a question that popped up on NASCAR Reddit, and some of the information I found on there was so fascinating that I felt like I would share it with you guys. Which, I mean, makes a lot of sense. I was the same guy who did the Guess the NASCAR Driver with just 5 hints, so I love providing that type of information to you guys, so here you go. So one thing that many newer fans may not know is that NASCAR in the 80s and prior actually used to use street legal cars, obviously with a lot more modifications to the engine, and you had to also make some adjustments to the body, for example, no glass, like the windshields and the headlights. So what they would do was obviously remove these so that they could be race legal. Now there was a problem. You didn't obviously want to have a hole in the front of the car because that's going to affect your aerodynamics, making your car slower, and nobody wants their car to be slower. So back then they would treat it like the rest of the body and just cover it up. So that's why in the late 80s and even early 90s, you used to see cars like this with just no decals on there at all. Just fully covered, and sometimes with a number there, but mostly it just looked like there was not supposed to be a headlight there to begin with. But then all of a sudden in the mid 90s, you started to see cars add these decals on, which was really odd. Why did they do that? Well, it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. See, we were no longer using the same cars that we were running from the dealership. You now had to use a NASCAR sanctioned body. So it wasn't that easy to distinguish each car, which manufacturer was which. And the manufacturer brands wanted to find a way to distinguish their cars from the others. One of the easiest ways was obviously having the emblem in front. But also another important thing was to add the grills and of course the headlights, which makes a lot of sense. I mean, look at the Gen 4 cars, especially the Gen 5 cars. How are you supposed to tell which one's a Chevy and which one's a Ford? It was nearly impossible, but thanks to these decals in the front, we were able to distinguish that. And now here we are with the Gen 7 car, and yes, we are still adding decals to the front of the cars to distinguish which manufacturer is which. So if you ever wonder why in the world we add decals to the front of the car, or why in the early 90s and late 80s we didn't even have decals at all, now you know.